It's time for the Stock Car Show on the Performance Motorsports Network. Powered by the staff at Race Chaser Online. Your motorsports, your way, every day. And now, here's your host, Tom Baker.
Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Stock Car Show, presented by HMS Motorsport, the leaders in motorsport safety and my computer career. We'll tell you about both of those fine folks in just a little while, but right now we crank things up here with, well, first let's tell you who we are, shall we? I am Tom Baker. Next to me is Jacob Seelman.
Hi.
At the table here in the Race Chaser studios. Next to Jacob is Allie Boulay.
She's new.
Allie is, yes. Allie has a rookie stripe on her back, and she is new to us. We are thrilled to have Allie here, and she's going to talk with us throughout the show and just be one of us for the
Fun
evening.
things.
We've also got Randy Miller across the way in the tech shed, and he is capably producing the audio portion of the show. And Cisco Scaramuza on the Race Chaser Skype line. I think we're going to have Stephen Ovens eventually to talk as well. And we've got a full show tonight, just conversation-wise, but we've also got scheduled to appear with us in about an hour or so is modified driver Andy Seiss. So we're going to talk some modifieds, the North-South shootout coming up this weekend at Concord. I can't wait for that. Only problem is you have to split time because you either go to Concord to see the modifieds or you go to the past late model show, Mason-Dixon Meltdown at Hickory. And, so I don't know why PASS chose to do that. I don't know what happened there between the two factions there, but I'm just going to register right now and say I'm not happy about that because I like them both, and I can't be at both places at once. Anyway, we start with NASCAR, Texas.
What?
And Kevin Harvick.
Kevin Harvick did what Kevin Harvick does. Kevin Harvick dominated Texas. Now, let's keep in mind this.
177 laps.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So, things that Kevin Harvick does really well. When his back's against the wall, he comes out swinging. That's exactly what Kevin did on Sunday.
It is.
He came out swinging in a big way. And let's remind everybody, that's exactly what he did a year ago at Texas. When his back was against the wall, he chased down Martin Truex, passed him, and drove off. That was a year ago. This weekend, Ryan Blaney got around him. Kevin Harvick chased Blaney down, passed him, and drove off. And then drove off again during an overtime restart. But, who's really keeping count? Once he passed Blaney back, I knew that was game, set, match, checkmate, whatever term you want to use. Kevin was lights out all day. 45th career Cup Series victories, 8th of the season. That's a career high for Kevin in terms of victories. And he now becomes the second Blue Oval driver to punch their ticket to Ford Championship weekend. That's a big deal.
It is a big deal. We're going to talk about the other one here in a bit. Cisco, Kevin Harvick did call his shot. He talked about the fact that he thought that between Texas and Phoenix, Texas was his best chance, which I didn't understand until I remembered that we flipped Phoenix around. So basically it's like an outlier now. Nobody's got any data because, of course, the track's going to be completely different the way you drive it. So, boy, Kevin said it, and Kevin went to Texas and backed up the test.
I think Randy pushed a button.
Yeah, I think Randy had Cisco. Somebody was Cisco. There's something. Cisco's in parentheses.
There we go. Okay, we're live. We're live.
Try it again, Cisco.
Yeah. So honestly, guys, it worries me for what could happen in Phoenix because with Kevin calling his shot here, we know he's going to be fast in Phoenix. So I mean, are we going to be living in a Kevin Harvick world for the next 2 weeks or so?
Well, okay. Here's
Blue Oval world for the next few weeks.
All right. Here's my 2 cents on this, and I think Allie may have hit on it to a T right there, Tom. The Fords have dominated. The Fords have dominated a lot, and the Fords are going to keep dominating. Period. End of discussion.
Yes. Well, it sure seems that way. I think we got Allie working now. Allie, I'll tell you what. This is one of those situations where if Phoenix were not the way it is, they hadn't flipped it backwards, and this were the typical let's go into Phoenix and watch Kevin Harvick drive off and lap the field kind of weekend, we could be looking at a Kevin Harvick 3-race sweep to end the season. As it is, I'm not so sure. I think this Phoenix race is really going to be a barn burner because the starts and restarts are going to be just downright nuts.
I mean, I'm pretty excited. I'm looking forward to it being Kevin Harvick and possibly winning the championship.
Yeah, he certainly has got a shot. I don't know. I don't know, what the situation is there. But as far as going into this track this weekend, because I really think, Jacob, this is going to be, it seems like every week we talk about how exciting the race is going to be. But This weekend, you're going into a track that you've really never raced on before because now it's backwards. So it's going to be different than what you're used to. And you've got basically 4 guys that have to win, period. Kurt Busch is the closest to the cutoff, but he's about 25 back. He's got to win.
Even Kurt's got to win, absolutely. No, the only way you're breaking into the Final Four is if you win.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah, and so for those 4 guys, and I mean, you've got Chase Elliott in there, who I think will be very strong this weekend. You've got Kurt in there, who I think will be very strong this weekend. I think you've got some guys. Clint Boyer's just going to be mad. Yeah.
Yes.
Because he had a terrible day yesterday. So he's going in hell bent for election. I think those 4 guys, the strategy, the aggression, I think all of that, and even Martin Truex, though it would appear he would be safe, not totally safe. I mean, so this is going to be insane.
Yes.
Cisco?
Yeah, and a small note on Clint, because I heard about it this weekend, and not necessarily having to do with the playoffs, but just kind of funny. Zach Novak, who won the one of the NASCAR sanctioned series on iRace, he got a chance to hop in Clint's dirt car over last week. And apparently he blew up the motor, so Clint's not too happy about that either.
Oh, boy. Oh. Clint just had a terrible weekend then. And that's just sort of the way that it went down for him. I mean, everything went wrong from jump. And, of course, then you had the whole debacle with NASCAR and Jimmy Johnson, which I'm sorry, but, I mean, I'm not trying to run NASCAR into the ground here, but that is inexcusable.
Unacceptable.
It would seem like you had time from the moment somebody noticed that this was going on. Why do you not have time to reverse this? So,
they had already started the race at that point when they realized that they screwed up.
But how?
It's too late.
Why didn't Chad? Because I missed the pre-race, most of it. Why was there not why was the 48 team not jumping up and down screaming?
He was.
But
Chad apparently was. From what I understand, Chad was trying to lobby, but I mean, I don't know if they just weren't able to show it or he was in the hauler doing it. I don't know what it was, but apparently Chad was trying to lobby and no, this is wrong. But
I mean, that's about the worst mistake I've ever seen NASCAR make. And they make a bunch, and even during the race, some of they're just some of the stuff that they call in the pits and whatever. I'm sorry, just absolutely, they overmanage, they micromanage, and it's just definitely not a good deal for Jimmy. Though he was out of the playoffs, and yes, I always say that starting in the back of a NASCAR race, especially a Cup race of that length, you got plenty of time to get to the front, but you also don't want to get taken out by a back marker on your way there. So,
which he didn't,
right? But you don't want to get put in that position if it's not necessary. Right. Truex needing to go to the back again. But he was able, again, to dig out of the hole and dig out of a pit mistake that he made and still finish up front. So,
I mean, he's got a good buffer. Like I said, the only way somebody's going to knock him or Kyle Busch out of the playoffs at this point or out of that championship 4 is if they win. And I honestly, the only driver I give any credence to being able to do that is Chase Elliott. I believe Elliott is the last hope of upsetting the apple cart here for the Final Four. Otherwise, all three of the big three will make that championship round. And let me tell you what, that's going to be one hell of a race at Homestead, Miami.
So you're telling me that you think Chase Elliott has a better chance to win at Phoenix than Kurt Busch?
Absolutely.
But what about Eric Almirola?
I don't give Eric Almirola credit to be able to close the deal, and I give Chase Elliott plenty of credit because he had more speed at Phoenix over the last year than Kevin Harvick has had. Yes, I know Harvick won the last race at Phoenix earlier in the year, but Harvick kind of lucked into that one a little bit. Chase Elliott has had speed every single time he has been at that racetrack. And quite frankly, Harvick doesn't have the magic touch he had 2 or 3 years ago at the Desert Diamond. So, you know.
Cisco, I'll let you jump in.
Well, I just think it's funny how it's almost roles reversed for Eric and Chase. Because at the beginning of the year, if you had, come to us and said, Chase is going to have a better shot at winning races than Eric Almirola is, I think we would have laughed you out of the building, to be honest.
Oh, no, I
said Eric
agreed.
was in SHR equipment, and he was
agreed.
going to look really good. And yet they've swapped. Chase has been able to show us he can finish out races and win them.
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
That's only happened once this year.
Yeah. We're going to talk about Eric Almirola when we come back from the break.
Oh, boy.
Because Eric had some choice words for Joey Logano after the race, and Coach Tom's got some choice words for Eric right around the corner. You're watching and listening to the Stock Car Show presented by HMS Motorsport and My Computer Career, and we shall return.
You own a performance car and you know how to drive, but you want to learn real performance driving. Well, Bunky, get that car off the street and onto the track. Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier road racing facility, located just over an hour from D.C. in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, is the place to go. And you'll find that Friday at the Track is going to give you what you need. For less than a monthly car payment, you can attend this regularly scheduled one-day instructional event in your street car on one of Summit Point's 3 world-class road racing circuits. You'll receive classroom instruction, skid pad instruction in their cars, including front and rear skid control, and 4 20-minute in-your-car instructional sessions from a professional instructor. Have fun, go fast, and really learn how to drive. Call 304-725-8444 for class schedules and details. That's 304-725-8444. Friday at the Track at Summit Point Motorsports Park.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ball in street? Girl in street!
It's hard to concentrate on 2 things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Here's an important message from RAD and this station.
Hi, this is Bob Sheehan from Blues Traveler for RAD, recording artists against drunk driving. I like to party just as much as the next guy, maybe even more, but the one thing I won't do after I've had a few is get in the car and drive. Don't blow it. Always choose a designated driver. Remember, music lives, and so should you.
Automotive technicians and auto service trainees, how would you like to work at the beach and perform for one of the best car care centers in the nation? Lewis Meineke is now looking for skilled automotive technicians to join their award-winning team. If you're a gearhead that knows his or her stuff, or a young up-and-comer that has the motivation and drive to succeed, then you need to make this call today. 302-827-2054. Lewis Meineke Car Care Center, located in beautiful Lewis, Delaware, offers a highly competitive compensation plan, great benefits, a flexible schedule, and did we mention that you're going to be working at the beach? Plus, there's a signing bonus for the right candidates. Technicians must be ASE certified and have a minimum of 6 years experience. Beginners advance at your own pace in one of several entry-level positions. But whatever you do, don't wait. These jobs will go fast. Call Tim at 302-827-2054. That's 302-827-2054. Lewis Meineke Car Care Center. Rev up your career.
Hi, I'm Tyler Reddick, and you're listening to Race Talk on the Performance Motorsports Network.
You can find them on the web at hmsmotorsport.com. As we continue with the Stock Car Show, Tom Baker, Jacob Seelman is next to me, Ali Boulay next to Jacob. In the Race Chaser studio, over across behind the glass in the tech shed, is the venerable Randy Miller. And we have Cisco Scaramuza and Steve Ovens via the Race Chaser Skype line.
We found him.
Full house. Yeah, it's good to have Steve Ovens here. And
I just noticed how Cisco split the box. I'm impressed.
Isn't that cool?
Wow.
Yeah.
Look at you.
Yeah, if you're not watching us on our Race Chaser Media Facebook Live stream, you should be.
Hey,
the graphics are cool.
That's totally not what Skype does automatically for me or anything. No, not at all.
No, Cisco's just good at that. Hi, Steve.
It's good to have you here, Steve-O. We'll get Steve out of parentheses in a moment. But
hey, there we go, guys.
There he is. Yeah.
Good to be with you guys. Appreciate it.
It's good to be good to have you with us as we continue with the show.
This is our food segment.
It is?
Yes, because I'm going to give you some cheese to go with the whiner you're about to talk about.
Yes, that's exactly right. Of course.
Chance?
We need some Smithfield bacon, too. So,
yes.
So for those of you who didn't get to watch the race and were under a rock all last night, maybe you were watching the Packers-Patriots game, which we won't talk about because the wrong team won. We had another Joey Logano episode yesterday, except that we really didn't. At the end of the race on the last restart, Eric Almirola was inside of Joey Logano and lost control of his car. Joey Logano was nowhere near Eric Almirola when this happened. He did not touch him. He did not mess up his air. He did not spin him. He just was guilty of racing him. Oh, the humanity. And then Eric afterward was crying because Joey was racing him too hard. He was racing me too hard. Oh, my gosh. Like, as if Joey should have just finished 12th. You know, I got news for you, Eric. If you can't take the heat, leave the cooking to someone else and get out of the kitchen. I mean, it's up to you to control your car. If I'm throwing a black flag for this weekend, it goes to Eric Almirola, who completely just made an ass of himself, frankly.
You see what we have here, Tom, don't you?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, the crying towel.
I've got my own. Don't worry. I've got it. Yeah, okay. I mean, look, after that, I hope Joey Logano wins the championship. I really do. Actually, Joey inadvertently is doing an amazing thing. He right now has Martin Truex. He's in Martin Truex's head.
Yes.
So, and he now is in Eric Almirola's head, and everybody's talking about Almirola. Eric's catching a whole bunch of heat for his whininess after the race, frankly. So here's the deal for me with this. If I were Joey, I'd go into Phoenix, and here's what I would do. I would blast Kyle Busch out of the way. I would blast Kevin Harvick out of the way. Now I'm in all three of their heads going into the final race at Homestead, and they're going to be so busy thinking about him, they're going to totally get off their own game, and Joey could go ahead and just win the championship. That's kind of where I'm at with that. I think it's an amazing opportunity for him to just mentally beat those guys before we ever get to Homestead. Cisco, do you agree?
Yeah, I just think it's funny that Tom would end up being that one guy who played NASCAR Thunder 2004 and had the rest of the field all red rivals against him, and basically would get auto-wrecked anytime he tried to drive through the field.
It's just like, you know, I'm sorry, but I'm tired of these of drivers whining because they were raced too hard. Didn't Chase Elliott do the same thing earlier in the season with Ricky Stenhouse? I would love to take these guys back to the 70s and let them race with no power steering, no power brakes, no form-fitted seats, no cool suits against drivers like Bobby Allison and Donnie Allison and Cal Yarborough and David Pearson and Buddy Baker, and let them complain that those guys raced them too hard. Are you kidding me? They get taken out to the back of the shed and whooped.
Can I read the quote just
sure you
so
can.
that I can characterize how ridiculous this is?
Yes.
And I quote from Eric Almirola, "We were a third-place car in that restart there where we were finally in position. We fought all day from the back. We started in the tail and we worked all day to get up to the front. Finally got ourselves into a position to at least have a shot. The 22 just went down into 3, put it right on my door, and about wrecked us both." I'll have to it wasn't the last restart he was talking about. It was the restart before, the one with 24 to go. I'll have to talk to him, but he just continues to make things harder on himself. If that's the way he wants to race me when he's already locked into Homestead and we're out here fighting for our lives, that's fine. When Homestead comes around, if I'm not in, he'll know it. I got news for you, Eric. Joey was doing his job. Your job is to shut up and race, sir, not sit there and whine and complain and moan and groan about other people actually doing their own jobs.
Okay, Steve Evans, where do you fall on this?
Well, where I fall on it, guys, is I think that Joey Logano has an opportunity here to really play the head games going into Homestead.
I agree.
I mean, it's easy to look past Phoenix, which is next week, but I think going into Homestead, Joey Logano has an opportunity to play head games with the rest of the championship four. Not to the likes that I don't think we've seen since Tony Stewart, Carl Edwards. I think that Logano has the opportunity to really get inside these guys' heads and really play this up. Is that Joey's character, nature to do that? Is that something that Roger Penske would frown upon? I don't know, but I think, Tom, the opportunity is there, and we know when it's a one race to decide the champion, you got to take advantage of every advantage you can. And I think Joey's got an opportunity here.
That's why I said I would like to see Joey go in and just he needs to throw the door at Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick at ISM this weekend and then just get them all riled up at him too, and then he'll be in all of their heads as we go into Homestead, or else he needs to go to ISM and lap the field and just dominate the race.
I mean, let's all be honest here. He's got speed. He's got as much speed as anybody right now.
He does. That's true.
I mean, I think Joey, you're right, Cisco. Joey has a golden opportunity here. He could be basically, and listen, Earnhardt Nation, don't send me hate mail here. I'm just saying, in this moment, he could be the intimidator because he didn't even have to get anywhere near Eric Almirola, and Eric got all crossed up, got out of shape, went all the way up the track, and then blamed Joey. So Joey wasn't anywhere near his door. So I find this all too common now that people are complaining about being raced too hard. I don't care if you're in the playoffs or not. You get paid to go and win races. That's what you get paid to do. And so, I mean, Eric said as much earlier in the season in a situation where he got criticized for an accident that he caused when he was running in the 20s somewhere at a track. I forget where it was, but he made the statement, look, my boss and my sponsors pay me to go win races. Same deal here. So he shouldn't have expected any quarter from Joey, and Joey didn't touch him. Joey did nothing wrong in that situation and still gets blamed because, I guess, he's the new punching bag.
Joey, this is not the first time Joey's been the punching bag.
No,
and it won't
there
be
was
the last
a
either.
Martinsville thing that happened.
Well, yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. It's like, again, this is all WWE type stuff for the fans. It depends who's hitting who and what situation, whether the fans like him or not, and all of that. But as far as I'm concerned, Joey has nothing to be ashamed of in either of those situations, and Truex and Eric Almirola just should be ashamed of themselves, honestly. It's kind of embarrassing. You get to the big leagues, you're in Cup, shut up and race. I mean, that's just nuts. Okay, so as we continue forward here talking about what goes on with this, okay, you've got 4 guys who we know have to win, but you've also got 4 guys that we feel like right now are pretty, well, I don't want to call them safe because anything could happen. We know Joey Logano and Kevin Harvick are safe. We believe Truex is safe. We're not sure. And we think that Kyle Busch is safe.
Kyle Busch is ahead of Truex in points.
Right.
So.
But, I mean, at this point, I believe those will be the big 4.
The Final Four.
Final
yes.
Four, Big Four,
Yep.
well, whatever you want to call it. It's the same thing. Who has the best opportunity, do you think, right now to go in? And I know we just talked about Joey and what he can do to get the upper edge, but do you think it's Joey? Who do you think has the opportunity to go in and really get the upper edge going into the last race?
Kevin Harvick. We're going to a track where Kevin Harvick is the all-time winningest driver. We're going to a track where Kevin Harvick has more top performances than anybody else in Cup Series history. We're going to a track in which he won in the spring, and he has a bucket load of notes that he can use to be successful. I believe Kevin Harvick goes in with a point to prove. He said it himself in his Victory Lane interview in Texas. We're not here worrying about points. We're here to win races, and the points take care of themselves after that. So if I'm Kevin Harvick, I'm going in ready to step on their throats at Phoenix this weekend. ISM Raceway. I'm never going to call it that, just saying. Sorry, ISM. I'm never going to get used to calling it that.
ISM
just like I never got used to calling it Lowe's Motor Speedway when it was Charlotte. Kevin Harvick goes into the Diamond in the Desert and steps on their throats and makes a statement going to Miami. Period.
Okay, I'm going to hold everybody else until the other side of the break, and that is where we will pick it up. Plus, we've got Xfinity trucks, and we have got Andy Seiss on deck shortly, too, to talk modifieds as we continue with the Stock Car Show, presented by HMS Motorsport, the leaders in motorsport safety, and My Computer Career. We'll be right back.
Do you love the sound of high-revving motors and the smell of burning rubber? Do you want to get your car sideways right at the ragged edge of control? If you've always wanted to try drifting or learn to improve your drifting skills, Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier motorsports facility, has the expert instructors and the specialized track to teach you how to drift and the skills necessary to drift competitively. From skid pad to open sessions, Summit Point Motorsports Park has the safe and open environment that allows drifters of all skill levels, new to intermediate, to get sideways and smoking. With a focus on safety and the skill set necessary to drift competitively, Summit Point Motorsports Park's Drift Nirvana is just the thing for you. Call for your reservation today, 304-725-8444. Or for more information, go online, summitpoint-raceway.com, or you can email them at office@bsrinc.com. Drift Nirvana, getting you sideways the right way.
HMS Motorsport is the leader in motorsport safety. HMS serves the majority of Monster Energy NASCAR Cup, Xfinity, Camping World Truck, IndyCar, and IMSA WeatherTech teams, as well as countless SCCA and club-level racers and driving enthusiasts throughout North America. Featuring world-renowned brands like Schuberth helmets, Schroep belts, Adidas suits and shoes, Lifeline fire systems, and even Racecom radio kits, HMS has the right product for your type of racing and your budget. Their representatives are experts on only one thing, making your track driving as safe as possible. With locations in Mooresville, North Carolina, and Danvers, Massachusetts, the HMS staff is always ready to take the time to help you find the right product for your safety needs. Don't settle for second when it comes to motorsport safety. Stop in to HMS Motorsport. Visit them on their website at hmsmotorsport.com or send them a message on Facebook and tell them the folks from PMN Radio sent you.
What an awesome game. What's up with your car? I don't know. It won't start. How are we getting home? Chill. My parents signed me up for the roadside assistance from Lewis Meineke. It was free with my oil change. They'd come and get the car started or get us home and tow the car to the shop.
Good to know. With my driving, my parents never know what to expect.
When you join the Meineke Car Care Club with a $35 preferred service, you get 4 free months of roadside assistance, including tire change, battery jump, lockout service, towing, and more. Contact Lewis Meineke, located on Route 1, or call 827-2054.
When do you think of a plumber? Like most people, even if it's an emergency, you can be confident about who will arrive to help you. For quality and reliability, count on someone you can trust. Call on the plumbing services of Hague Quality Water of Maryland. Plumbing doesn't have to be an emergency. We handle all kinds of preventative maintenance too. Hague Quality Water of Maryland is family-owned here in Annapolis since 1993. For a refreshing choice, call us at 888-84-WATER or visit us online.
COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, is a lung disease that robs people of their ability to breathe. As many as 24 million Americans suffer from COPD, also known as chronic bronchitis or emphysema, and half of them don't know they have the disease. If you or someone you love is over 35 and has smoked more than 100 cigarettes in their lifetime, Visit driveforcopd.org and take the screener, then take that to your doctor. I'm Jeff Stoltz, and I drive for COPD.
Hi, this is Austin Terrio, and you're listening to Race Talk on the Performance Motorsports Network. Now back to the show.
Welcome back to the Stock Car Show. One of our new partners for the show and our Thursday Motorsports Madness show is My Computer Career. Now, I have a question for you guys. Is your job sucking the life out of you? Wake up. You can do something else. It's not too late. Information technology. I know what you're thinking, but I'm not a math and science person. No problem. It's not rocket science. It's My Computer Career. Helping people start an IT career is their thing. If you don't absolutely love what you do, go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. You can start your new life as an IT professional in as little as 4 months. That's it, 4 months. You can attend classes on campus or live online just 2 or 3 times a week to get what you'll need to start your new career. More than just a school, My Computer Career helps you get into the industry by working with hundreds of employers that hire their students. My Computer Career is nationally accredited. Financial aid is available for those who qualify, including the GI Bill. Classes start soon, so go take the career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu. That's mycomputercareer.edu. My Computer Career is one of our sponsors, and we do appreciate them. And we continue with our show and continue talking NASCAR and playoffs and ISM and all that good stuff. And the question I posed before the break is who has the upper hand of the top 4 right now? Who would have the upper hand or the best chance to get the upper hand going into Homestead by winning at Phoenix?
I said Kevin Harvick.
Jacob said Kevin Harvick. And I'm going to go to Allie next and then Cisco.
Oh, me?
Yes.
I'm going to go with Kurt Busch.
Wow.
Kurt's not even in the top 4. But okay.
I'm going to go with he's going to be in the top 4.
So you think Kurt's going to go win at ISM?
Yes.
Interesting. Okay. Well,
I'm sure my odds aren't pretty good in Vegas, but I'm going to go with Kurt. Kurt's been my man for years. I'm sticking by, as I think there's a country song, Stand By Your Man. I'm going to stand by my man. I'm standing by Kurt.
Why not? Absolutely. Yes. That was that was when country was good, when it was country and Western. Okay, Cisco.
Tom, she may not like her odds in Vegas, but I'll bet Kurt Busch does because he just happens to be from there.
Yes, that's probably true. Okay, Cisco, and then we'll go to Steve. Who do you think has the opportunity to get the upper hand here coming out of ISM Raceway?
It's hard because I want to get off the 2-inch limb and say Chase Elliott, but at the same time, the 2-inch limb has been nice for me lately, so I don't think I'm going to go anywhere, and I'm going to stick with Kevin Harvick.
Well, the original question I posed involved the top 4. Which of the top 4? And so 2 of you have gone off the page, which is fine, and feel like maybe Chase Elliott has a chance to go win and get himself into the top 4.
I will say, Tom, keep in mind, Bowman has had a very good car there. Bowman's no longer in the playoffs. This becomes, once again, the tale of 3 of the Hendrick cars aren't in the playoffs anymore, so everybody focuses on the 9, and let's see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, Steve. I agree, and I understand why that would be a valid point. I mean, do you really feel like the Hendrick cars have a shot, or the 9 car even has a shot to actually go win at Phoenix?
Oh, he absolutely does, and I'll tell you why. It's because Mr. H split up Jimmy and Chad finally. Everybody's got a chance to win. No, seriously, though, I think that when you say, okay, I want to answer your question first, and you said top 4.
Yes.
I think Kevin Harvick is going to win Phoenix. I really do.
Okay.
Now, that's my head talking. Now, if I'm talking with my heart and I'm looking at those guys that are in the bottom 4 right now that are, they've got to win to get in, I think Chase has got as good an opportunity as anybody because, guys, yes, there's no other Hendrick cars right now that are vying for that 4th spot to Homestead. Let's not forget, Chase is pretty good here at Phoenix, especially most recently. So I think that he's got as good a chance as any of those 4 guys that are not yet locked in that wouldn't be able to necessarily point their way in. So I think Chase has got as good a shot as any, but in terms of the top 4, give me Kevin Harvick because it's Phoenix and it's Kevin Harvick.
Well, it's hard to bet against Kevin, but again, we flip the track around here. I feel like something really off the wall could happen on Sunday, frankly, at Phoenix. I feel like
Jeff Gordon, Clint Boyer level off the wall?
Well, not necessarily that kind of a thing, but I could see an Alex Bowman, or I could see somebody who has the speed, but who we don't really talk about. Even somebody like maybe a Paul Menard, it's one of those situations where you kind of look at it and you go, well, maybe somebody slips in here and has a really good day and goes out and wins. I'm going to say that I would not count out Clint Boyer because Clint is going to be one angry dude. And this is a situation, he and Almirola both really, where they literally have nothing to lose, Cisco. They are just trying to win a race. They're not in the championship 4. They're not close to the championship 4. There's only one way they get there, win the race. And I've got a feeling that both of those drivers are going to be a little extra aggressive and maybe some interesting pit strategies too.
Well, I'll tell you what, it gets a little crowded on this 2-inch limb because I also have my stat book next to me on it. So I open that up. I go to the Phoenix page, and it tells me then 2016, the only guy left in the playoffs who's won there recently, and it was in 2016 in this race, was Joey Logano. So just throwing that out there, Joey has won there. Now, yes, we keep talking about the track has been flipped, but it's not like they added a jump or like changed the banking or anything. Yes, you will drive it a little bit differently, but we're not talking about like we shaved the banking 10 degrees or we decide to turn it into a figure 8 or something. It's still Phoenix at the end of the day.
Right. Now, if I can add my numbers to why I believe that Chase Elliott comes in as the one guy who can probably win.
Jacob, do you have the stat book next to you on the 2-inch limb?
I do have the stat book next
doing
to me
his
on
numbers.
the 2-inch
Look
limb.
out.
In 5 previous starts...
We need a numbers sponsor.
Yeah, well...
Go ahead, Jake.
I'll find
Hide
one.
the women and children.
Yeah, exactly.
In 5 previous starts at Phoenix, Chase Elliott has not finished any worse than 12th ever. His last 2 starts there have been, he's finished 2nd and 3rd. His average finish, 6.8. This cat is really, really, really good here. He's never been bad here. And the race that he finished 12th, he had a shot to win it until overtime happened. He led 106 laps that day.
Yeah.
Do not sleep on the 9 crew. They are scary. You don't have to look it up because I already did.
And Jacob, they're probably scary too because nobody's probably, other than if you take a look at the stats, people probably aren't looking their way, and they probably like it that way.
And I was going to say, people are not looking at this 9 team, but they should be.
But this is one of those tracks where, again, I think there probably are some guys that we're not even talking about, like a Brad Keselowski, for example, who could actually be a viable contender here. I just think the guys from outside of the playoffs, especially this first time through in this race with this track configuration, because you say it's still Phoenix, and that's true, but the way that you approach it is going to be just a little bit different because, again, you start from the opposite end, and that's going to change all of the starts and restarts, and it's going to make everybody a little bit more together, I think.
Not wrong.
I just have a feeling that there are more contenders here than just the first few. And I believe, honestly, that we go into this race with probably 14, 15 cars, and let's throw Denny Hamlin in too, by the way.
Hang on. If we're throwing in cars that could play spoiler, I got one more for you.
Go ahead.
And you're going to call me crazy. Hey, Cisco.
Wouldn't be the first time I've called you crazy.
Yes?
You got your prop anywhere close at hand?
Which one?
The one that is easy to assume, that the off-the-wall one.
I know what.
I think, yes, Steve, hit the button.
He probably doesn't have it with him.
Hit the button.
That was easy.
There we go.
Jimmie Johnson will be a threat in this race.
Why do we always...
Oh, wait, hold on. I got another one. Hold on.
Why do we always...
Because Jimmie Johnson is really good on first configurations of racetracks.
But nothing about Jimmie Johnson's season's been easy.
But you know what? I don't care. That's what would make this fit so perfectly. It really would. Honestly,
probably all Steve's
nobody's
fault.
looked at him all year. Nobody's expecting him to do anything, and that's why I think he could come out and do something. Allie's looking like I'm
No, no. Him and Chad Knaus, there's trouble in paradise.
I don't care.
Their
They want to
honeymoon's
win.
over. They're not going to go out on top.
I don't care.
There's not enough speed there.
I don't care.
I believe.
Wow.
I believe.
Okay. So if we're sitting here next Monday and he actually pulls off the miracle, can I gloat?
I
and
will
say
bow
that I was
down
right?
to you.
Yes,
I will bow to you if he wins.
To that.
We will. Yeah.
Can I throw one more at you, Jacob?
Oh, by all means.
If you're talking stats, guess who has an average finish of 7th at ISM Raceway? Yes, it's only in 3 starts. How about Eric Jones for a spoiler?
Well, there's another one. That's what I'm saying. I honestly think this is going to be a different kind of Phoenix race. Now, I could be wrong, and Kevin Harvick can show up and lap the field, but I just don't see that. The setup for this race with the track being backwards and as many cars close on speed as there have been in the way the last couple of races have gone, I just think this could be actually a bit of a war.
It could be.
You know,
hey,
go
Jake,
ahead,
this is what you want the finish to look like? Something like that?
Yes, something like that.
Yeah, there we go. That's exactly it.
Yes.
Yeah, it could be interesting. I mean, I feel like Bowman has a better shot to win than Jimmie Johnson.
Reminder that Jimmy's flying the Power of Pride paint scheme.
I was going to say, yeah, he has a lot of motivation to win this weekend.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it is getting down because he's got 2 shots to go out with the win.
So does Denny Hamlin.
Jack
They're both in the same boat. They've both got a streak to uphold.
Yeah.
And if the champion wins the final race, at least one of those streaks is going to be broken.
Okay, so enough Cup for a little bit. We're going to put that aside. We're going to step aside. When we come back, we're going to talk trucks because there was a truck race. And, boy, this series, again, you talk about how tough this race should be. We'll talk trucks when we come back. We got modifieds to talk in just a few minutes. Andy Seiss is going to join us. Yes, thank you. I love modifieds. We got much more of the show. Stick with us. You're listening to the Stock Car Show. We'll be back right after this.
Everywhere you go, you hear it, and you see it. It's coming at you through your phone, your tablet, and your computer. It's broadcast from your favorite radio station, TV networks, and cable companies. It's in the stadiums, the arenas, the ballparks. It screams for your attention at the mall. It's interactive on Main Street. It's even coming at you from the gas pump at the nearby convenience store. What is it? It's digital content. It's digital content. It's digital content. Somebody has to create it. Somebody has to manage it. So whether your dream is to write it, design it, create it, call it, produce it, voice it, host it, light it, shoot it, switch it, record it, color correct it, edit it, code it, repurpose it, tweet it, blog it, post it, compress it, upload it, replay it, or make sure it gets to where it's got to go when it's got to get there in the format it's got to be in, you need to attend
Carolina School of Broadcasting.
The skills you will learn, the experience you will get, and the connections you will make at Carolina School of Broadcasting will open the doors to the career you want in digital content creation and digital content management. Call or come by today. Click csbradiotv.edu.
Parents, your son or daughter has had their license for a while now, but you want to make sure they're prepared for any situation they may face on the road. High school driver's ed doesn't teach them to drive defensively. They need to be prepared for any highway emergency. For less than a month's insurance, and a whole lot less, BSR instructors at Summit Point Motorsports Park in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, will teach your son or daughter how to respond instantly and positively to unexpected situations on the road. BSR's specialized accident avoidance training teaches swerve to avoid maneuvers at highway speed, ocular driving, which focuses driving attention on ways to avoid accidents, vehicle dynamics and feedback, skid control and skid recovery, threshold braking on straights and progressive braking on curves, and off-road recovery techniques. This is stuff driver's ed simply doesn't teach. So call BSR today, 304-725-8444. Give your kid the skill set needed to drive safely and responsibly on the highway. That's 304-725-8444.
This is a test to find out if you know it all when it comes to children. Name one of the leading killers of U.S. children age 1 to 13. What's the best way to protect children in a car crash? At what age and size should a child start using a booster seat?
Don't assume you know it all when it comes to car seats for your child. Go to safercar.gov/the-right-seat and know for sure. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Ben Rhodes, and you're listening to the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
And that's an appropriate segue into the truck
sure
series.
Is. Welcome back to the Stock Car Show. Besides it being one of my favorite piano riffs of all time, that was also Ben Rhodes bringing us back from break, who will be competing in this weekend's Truck Series event at Phoenix. He is no longer in contention for a championship.
Hang on. Not entirely true. Not in contention for a driver's championship.
We're focused on that. He's no longer in contention for the one that everybody talks about.
So if Ben Rhodes goes out and actually wins the owner's title for the 41, you're going to belittle that? I'm sorry.
I'm not belittling it. It just isn't as important to the fans.
We talked about it a bunch 2 years ago when William Byron won the race at Homestead to win the owner's title. Thanks.
But he also won the Drivers' Championship last year in Xfinity.
Well,
so
yeah, but that was before.
Anyways, moving forward with our truck conversation. Look, here's the deal. As Spencer Gallagher so eloquently and maybe a bit arrogantly put it out.
Tweeted, 50% is in at Homestead. Hashtag, how you doing? Yeah, like Joey from Friends.
We got half the field. So they got a 50% shot at winning a championship. Johnny Sauter and Justin Haley are in the championship 4. We know that. We go to Phoenix. Jacob, who steps up? I mean, where do we go with this? Because we've got 2 winners in the Final 4, and right now you've got Noah Gragson still very much in the hunt. I mean, there are a number of drivers, but who steps up and takes control and goes into the Final 4 with a win?
2-1, Johnny Sauter. I don't believe anybody else steps up to the plate in Phoenix. I believe that Sauter.
So you think Sauter's going to win Phoenix?
I believe Johnny Sauter's going to win at Phoenix. However,
who are going to be the other 2?
The other 2. Well, I believe one of them is going to be Brett Moffitt, if for no other reason than they are absolutely Spitfire motivated after NASCAR neutered the Mark Cronquist Toyota Motors and basically forced them into adopting the NT1 for the final 4 races of the year. I just have a very odd feeling in the pit of my stomach that something is going to happen in this race on Friday night that is going to ultimately do to Noah Gragson what it did to William Byron 2 years ago in this series. And I actually believe that misfortune's going to bite Noah Gragson does not make the Final 4. I can't tell you which of the 2 ThorSport trucks is going to end up jumping in if that happens, but I have this weird feeling in the pit of my stomach that something's going to happen and Noah's not going to make it to Homestead.
Steve in our chat says, I hate it when my motors get neutered.
Well, okay, let me get through the rest of the Final 4 talk and then let me rant on that.
Hashtag chop chop.
Yeah, chop chop. That's exactly right. Okay, carrying on here. So, all right, Brett Moffitt is 22 points out. And Noah Gragson, 18, or actually 22 to the good and 18 to the good. They're in 3rd and 4th right now in the standings. Grant Emfinger is 18 back, and Matt Crafton's 23 back. Not inconceivable that we could see either of those 2 sneak in if Moffitt or Gragson have a bad day. I don't believe that happens. I think Moffitt and Gragson both run very well at Phoenix. And Cisco, I believe that's your Final 4. Johnny Sauter, Justin Haley, Brett Moffitt, and Noah Gragson. You could take your pick as to whether one of those 2 wins or they just finish far enough up. But I don't believe anybody outside of those 4 wins Phoenix. I think one of them will. And And I think the other one finishes well enough to point his way in and take care of it. I say Emfinger and Crafton will be out going into Homestead. Cisco?
Neither of them have won at that racetrack in this division. Even Matt Crafton, who's raced there for how many years?
Yeah.
Has never won at that racetrack. And Matt, I told you, you got to show me something. You haven't shown me something, dude. This is
nothing.
I do not buy it at all, guys. The 88 truck, he's done this year. He's done.
I agree. Steve?
Guys, I am having a brain fart of epic proportions right now.
No.
Grant Enfinger, why is nobody talking about? Is he also not part of it?
Well,
anymore?
he's below the cutoff. He's 18 below
he's
the
18
cutoff.
below.
He actually,
but he's
has
got an
to...
opportunity. Is what I'm saying.
Yes.
He has a chance.
I honestly,
We're
he showed me
saying
something
there's a
a few
chance.
weeks ago. Don't sleep on Grant Enfinger.
Okay.
You know
Fair
what?
enough.
He shocked everybody with that win to put himself forward earlier on in these playoffs. So I mean, I wouldn't put it past him.
I
to
wouldn't
pull
either.
another rabbit out
And
of the
guys,
hat.
I say him too because I agree that there's an opportunity for a major disappointment on that 18 truck.
Thank you.
I mean,
I'm glad I'm not the only one that's feeling
Jacob,
that.
how many times have
third
we
it.
seen that happen this year for one reason or another?
Yes. He should have
I'm-
about 5 wins this year. The fact of the matter is he only has 1.
Exactly, and I'm not saying that it's going to happen, but what I am saying is the opportunity for something just crazy to happen, to drop them out, is there. Maybe more so with those guys than the others that we're talking about here.
Thank you.
Well, I said that a while ago when we first started the playoffs. I had Noah being out.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, I have the feeling now that that's not going to happen. I think Noah's in. And I called the Justin Haley shot for the championship at that point 2 weeks ago when we started talking about the transition to after he won in Canada. I called that shot, and I believe that Justin Haley does win the championship.
I'm going to be that guy and say not just for Justin Haley's own sake. I honestly feel like the Truck Series needs that to happen. I mean, we've already had Johnny Sauter, Matt Crafton. We've had the era of the veterans. I feel like the youth in this series has been on the upswing the last couple of years, and I feel like it'd be a shot in the arm for the series to see somebody like Justin Haley, who scratched and clawed and was a true underdog in his own words, win the championship. I really believe it.
Yeah, I think so. I would love to see Moffitt win it. And I wouldn't mind seeing Noah win it. I just but Justin Haley has, I mean, if you just look at the way this has played out lately, he's the one who's had the most luck and momentum on his side.
Yeah.
Every time somebody else makes a mistake, there he is.
All right.
And he's got speed.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, going back to what you mentioned about Brett Moffitt, I don't believe that Brett Moffitt will win this title, and it's unfortunate because you're right. I want nothing more than to see that Hattori team have success, contend for the title. If they won it, you're right, it would be amazing. It's not going to happen, and here's why. Here's my rant. NASCAR has gone on this trip of changing the rules after the playoffs started, specifically to disadvantage the Mark Cronquist Toyota motors, the manufacturer motor, and give an advantage to the NT1 spec engine. There's been a gear change. There's been a reduction of horsepower for the Toyota motor. It's gone so far that Toyota has backed Shiggy Hattori and put up the cost for them to get an NT1 motor for the final couple of races this season so that they can go out and, in David Wilson's own words, the president of Toyota, have a realistic shot at the championship. Cisco, I am not okay with this. NASCAR, stop it. This is not cool.
Where's your TRD hat?
Oh,
Where's your prop?
My prop. I'll get my prop. Cisco.
And while Jacob's getting his
Yeah.
prop,
Yeah.
let's keep in mind, this isn't the first time NASCAR's done this in the last 2 months. Because they did the same thing at Martinsville for the super late model race. They limited the Harringtons and made the teams put weight in for basically no reason. Why? Why are you doing this? Did you really feel like there was a reason that you had to limit Toyota and Harrington's power for some reason? Or is somebody in Charlotte just like, hey, you know what, just screw them. You know, we want GM or Ford to win this, or the spec motor. We don't want Toyota to win this. Guys, what are you doing? Why did you feel the need to do this? There was no competitive difference whatsoever. Why are you doing this?
Exactly. Now, I got my prop. Who am I nervous about for the Final Four? These guys, TRD, right here. I don't believe they are going to have a realistic shot in the final 50 laps at Homestead. That's my 2 cents, and I'm sticking to it. My thoughts right now on how this plays out, Noah Gragson has some sort of issue and takes himself out of it like he's done so many times this year.
I don't buy it.
And Brett Moffitt, with all the changes they've had to endure just to have a shot, I don't believe they're going to be performing at the level they need to be to go to war with the 24 and the 21. I believe this championship comes down to Johnny Sauter versus Justin Haley, period.
Well, it'll be interesting because Mitch Brown in our chat says he believes that Moffitt won't make it and Crafton will actually sneak his way in. The only way Matt's going to get in, he's got to win.
No way.
It's the only way he's...
Okay, I give Junior Joyner a lot of credit. But there's no way.
If Matt Crafton wins at Phoenix to get himself into Homestead, I will eat Brussels sprouts on this show.
Thank you. I'm with Steve. I'll back him up. I'll do it too. This entire box that we're in, we will not sit here and eat Brussels sprouts if Matt Crafton wins that, because it is not going to happen. Matt is done. He is done.
Game on.
I'm in agreement with you, Jacob. I think it's going to be a GMS. It's either going to be Haley or it's going to be Sauter. You can't beat those GMS trucks. They've got something that nobody else has.
I'll reiterate Spencer Gallagher. How you doing?
We'll see what happens. Hey, here's some good news for a lot of people in our chat because I know what they're waiting for. We're going to step aside. When we come back, Andy Seiss going to join us. We're going to talk about ground pounders. That's modifieds, for those of you who don't know. We'll be back with more of the Stock Car Show presented by HMS Motorsport and My Computer Career right after this.
You own a performance car and you know how to drive, but you want to learn real performance driving. Well, Bunky, get that car off the street and onto the track. Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier road racing facility, located just over an hour from D.C. in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, is the place to go. And you'll find that Friday at the track is going to give you what you need. For less than a monthly car payment, you can attend this regularly scheduled one-day instructional event in your street car on one of Summit Point's 3 world-class road racing circuits. You'll receive classroom instruction, skid pad instruction in their cars, including front and rear skid control, and 4 20-minute in-your-car instructional sessions from a professional instructor. Have fun, go fast, and really learn how to drive. Call 304-725-8444 for class schedules and details. That's 304-725-8444. Friday at the track at Summit Point Motorsports Park.
Every 30 minutes, another innocent person is killed due to a drunk driver.
My best friend. My brother. My poor grandchild.
My sister.
My father. My husband. My mom. My mommy.
Well, I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I've built my life around you.
Stop these tragedies before they happen. Don't drink and drive.
The Performance Motorsports Network is a compilation of shows about motorsports. From technical to controversial to just fun, everything you like about racing and gearhead stuff is right here on one internet channel. The Performance Motorsports Network. Tell your friends about it.
Hi, I'm Reed Sorensen. Racing has been a part of me and my family for as long as I can remember. I had to make tough choices early on to get to the top. It took hard work and dedication. But it's those tough choices that helped me prepare for challenges I would face as a cup driver. Make the right choices today and be ready for the challenges tomorrow. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
Hi, I'm Timmy Salamito, and you're listening to Race Talk on the Performance Motorsports Network. Now back to the show.
Welcome back. It's the second hour of the Stock Car Show, presented by HMS Motorsport, the leaders in motorsport safety. You can find them on the web at hmsmotorsport.com for all your driver and car safety needs. And also, we're sponsored now by My Computer Career, and we appreciate all of the folks at My Computer Career as well. And time to talk modifieds, or as Mitch Brown in our chat says, ground pounders for life. Yes, absolutely. I'm all for it. I am a super modified guy at heart, with modifieds being right there. And if those of you who know about the Oswego Speedway, it's where I grew up. And in the 70s, that's what it was, supers and modifieds. And joining us is a modified driver extraordinaire, Andy Seiss, back with us on the program. Been a while for us with Andy Seiss. Welcome.
Not intentionally.
Not intentionally, just been a while. Welcome back, Andy. We're glad to have you back on the program.
Glad to be here.
Well, you've got a big one coming up this weekend that I'm planning to be in attendance at, the North-South Shootout at Concord Motor Speedway. For those in our audience who aren't familiar with Concord, it is a big old half mile with a dog leg, and modifieds, I just love seeing the modifieds there. What do you think about it as a driver?
You said it. It's the ultimate racetrack. And I got to quote one of my heroes and friends, Dale Quarterly, when he got to drive a modified there. It's a road course that you only turn left on, because there's three, we'll call it three, you call it five, however many turns you want, but three very different parts of the track. There's elevation changes, there's bumps, and it makes, for what I believe, one of the best modified tracks in the country. It really does. All the divisions are great there, but modifieds, for whatever reason, it really suits us. So that, coupled with, just tire strategy and different things, it is a fast half mile, like you said, and you try to hold it wide open through at least one of the three turns. So you're on the gas, you're digging those rear tires in, using that horsepower, and the tire strategy turns out pretty big. You see cars kind of charging to the front and other guys saving their tires. So anybody that goes doesn't regret it, So if you've never been to one, definitely make it out there this weekend. And if you haven't been, I got to assume you're planning on going again anyway.
Yeah, I hope so.
Andy, you are a past winner of this race. From the standpoint of the modified community, you won it 2 years ago. What does it mean to the driver who does come out on top in this race?
Well, I'll put it in perspective this way. We had come off back-to-back championships on the Southern Tour. I was driving for Eddie Harvey. We switched chassis manufacturers. Took us a little bit on the learning curve. Won one race on the Southern Tour that year, but fell short in the points. And obviously, that was disappointing. We thought we should have been better. And then we win the North-South Shootout. And you go, well, you know what? I've already won the championships. I'd probably trade one of them for a North-South Shootout win. So to me, it's right up there. I'm absolutely thrilled that I get to say I've won that race, especially with the names that have won it. Matt Hirschman's been dominant there. John Blewett, Donnie Leah, real heroes of mine and people I looked up to when I first started. I didn't make the first North-South Shootout. I wasn't even in modifieds, but once I got into modifieds the next year, it's been on my list every year since then. So I'm excited to go this year. I'm excited to be driving for Brian Doza and his brother-in-law Motorsports. We'll be in the red OB Builders number 57. And we just came off a fourth-place finish at Loudon. It was the last time out with that car. Finally had some luck go our way. It hadn't been the best to us so far. So we're really circling this race to kind of continue that momentum, and hopefully we can improve. Last year we came, we were leading with about 17 to go before we had issues, and hopefully we can just be 17 laps better.
Well, that's actually, I'm glad you mentioned the Doza team, because that's exactly what I wanted to ask you about. It's a car maybe that a lot of people, I don't want to say scratched their head at when you ended up there, but maybe wouldn't have expected you to land there, but you've certainly made quite a good home for yourself with Brian and with that team. What made that such a good fit for you?
I've been building Brian's modifieds for about 5 years now, and we always talked about it. And then, when Eddie Harvey and myself, parted ways for just different reasons. I wasn't sure what my next step was, and Brian said, well, why don't you drive my car once or twice? And then over the off season, he said, well, why don't we build another car? So it's a team that doesn't have a ton of resources, but they have enough. There's one car and one motor. Now there's 2 cars and 2 motors, thanks to Doug Dunleavy and his Dunleavy Truck and Trailer Repair, providing the NASCAR spec motor for us. So, like I said, it's a good deal. Not a famous team on the track. It's not the Mystic Missile. It's not the T.S. Allers car or anything. But it gives us all the right parts and pieces. We've been fortunate to kind of been building the team, I'll say, as the year goes on. And the NASCAR Modified Tour is tough. So, we've got some guys from down south. Todd Cooper comes with us. He's the crew chief on Brian Doza's car. And then from up north, we've got my guys up there, Matt Holmes, Ray Goyette, Barry Simmons. And we've even got our tire guy comes from Arkansas every weekend.
Oh, wow.
So Patrick Hutt joined the team. And of course, I've always got the support of my dad as the crew chief, my mom, my wife, supporting everything I do and being there for whatever we need on race day. And longtime spotter Charlie Brown always having my back. And so we've been putting this team together. And, the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour takes a complete team. It's not just, have a fast car. It's have a fast car, have fast pit stops, have good strategy, always evolving. So it's a tough task when you start a new team. And like I said, it's not the biggest, baddest team out there, but we're getting there. And I think Loudon showed that, where it all came together, and we're looking to get even better.
All right, so I'm going to bring up a couple numbers that don't necessarily make you smile, but they do lead into an important question. So Matt Hirschman's won this race 6 times and completed every lap of the shootout going back to 2005. How tough is it to win this race, and what the heck do you have to do to beat him?
We had a fantastic car when I was driving for Eddie Harvey. We really had a lot of things go our way. We had a different tire strategy, and you know what? Matt Hirschman was damn good that day, but we just kind of, if it lasted 5 laps longer, I don't know that we would have won it. It was, we stayed out on old tires. Everybody else pitted, and we had a phenomenal car on a long run, and those guys had 30-lap fresher tires than us. It just worked out. So we were fortunate that day. Hirschman's are that good, going back generations. Tony was that good, Matt's that good. And kind of what I was talking about before about building our team, a new team, I'm very envious of the team that Matt Hirschman's assembled. You can tell when they get there, every decision they make is to winning that race. They don't leave anything to chance. They don't take any. And, like I said, they got a great group of people, been together for years. So when they get there, they mean business. They put a lot of emphasis in these open shows. Some people, and myself included, when you're focused on the tour, you're not going to revamp your car just for these open shows. But since that's kind of what they focus on, that's what they're focused on. So and they're great. I've followed Matt many a lap. He doesn't make a mistake. He's very good out there. So to be honest with you, one of the biggest compliments is when I won it is that Matt finished second. It wasn't because he fell out of the race. It wasn't some fluke. I mean, that means a lot to me. And we've had a lot of good races. I've been fortunate to run with Matt quite a bit. I finished second to him earlier this year at Hickory. I finished second to him at the North-South Shootout at Caraway. And we've also beat him on occasion. So when you beat the Hirschmans, you're doing something.
What do you see in terms of the state of modified racing as a whole? I mean, obviously, NASCAR combined the tour, and it kind of went up north away from the south. And, we've got several smaller series up there in the New England area. And still, the ROC stuff in New York, I think, is still going on. But you've got a lot of modified racing, but what do you see, how do you feel about where modified racing's at, and maybe, if there is something you'd like to see a little bit different, what would that be?
Well, I think in the Northeast, modified racing is very healthy, and, we're all fortunate for that because it is the premier division. I really believe in the Northeast, the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour is the premier division. So if you have sponsors that want to get exposure, if you have car owners that want the challenge and the prestige of the biggest racing going on asphalt in the Northeast, you go to the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour.
Right.
So there's a lot of resources there, a lot of financial backing, and guys making a living at being crew members, not making a living, but dedicating their lives and their hobby.
Sure.
Down south, modifieds aren't that healthy. Down south, racing is a little bit more of a business. People are looking for the pathway to Cup. So, families are kind of raising their kids in stock cars and stuff like that. The other thing, again, if you're a business looking for exposure or a businessman looking to challenge yourself in racing, you probably end up at a division in the trucks, maybe ARCA, Xfinity, Cup even. So it's tough there. You can't really compare apples to apples.
Okay.
And I think one of the demise with the Southern Tour was, the Northern Tour had a little bit more health, a little bit more success. So they tried to make the Southern Tour after that. And unfortunately, what that was, it just started to cost too much money and more than was available here. When the smaller tours popped up in the South, I really thought, okay, here's a division to get back to grassroots. But they kind of made the mistake of doing the same rules as NASCAR. So I'm happy to see, the Hackett family and the SMRS series get back to no change tire, a tire you can really race on. This year they made some changes there. I think it was the right changes. And hopefully slowly it will come back. We'll get some new blood, get these races built up. But, I like racing where you go after it hard. So you either have to have a no change tire with either a tire that can take it or a short race, or something like the North-South Shootout this weekend where you have enough change tires to where there's a strategy to it. So, I'm optimistic for the South down here. Obviously, Bowman Gray's really healthy, and there's a big following there. The new TV show that came out, hopefully it'll help Southern racing in general.
Yeah, South Boston being added to the tour. Shane Bailey in our chat wishes you luck this weekend and wondered what you thought about South Boston being added to the tour schedule next year. I think it's great.
I think it's great. First of all, hello to Shane, and big shout-out to him and all he does for the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour.
Agreed.
Those that don't know, he's a huge supporter on Facebook especially, but in general, and he helps a lot of us drivers connect with fans and different things. But South Boston's huge for us. I'm proud of our record there. I've won there 3 times, more than anybody else, for 2 different car owners. Just really suited my driving style. We definitely had a couple that got away there too, but none of that really matters now. It's paved. It's different. So I'll have to go up there and do some testing and see how hard we can go. And I saw pictures of it where the new pavement is already starting to gray a little bit, so it's not going to be as tacky as maybe brand new pavement, but maybe a little bit more about turning speed, a little bit less about forward bite, but a great racetrack. From the racing on the pavement to the facility, Kathy and her whole staff up there does a great job. The stands are wonderful, concessions. It's a track that I think should definitely be on the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour, and I'm excited to see it back.
Well, I am too. I'm really, really excited about that. That'll be a fantastic show coming up in 2019. Andy, we appreciate you taking some time to join us here tonight. I know that you don't race in a vacuum, so talk about who currently is responsible for helping you to make your racing happen.
Yeah, like I said, I want got to be thankful for Brian Doza and his OB Builders for putting our deal together. The guys at Raymock Racing Engines, Doug Dunleavy, his Dunleavy's Truck and Trailer Repair, and his NASCAR Spec Engine by Robert Yates Racing for getting us on the track. Racing Electronics, LaJoya Seating, Leaf Racewear, everybody that makes my modified deal happen. Obviously, my family business, Rockingham Boat's always been behind me 100%. And then, of course, we didn't get to talk about it much, but the ARCA team owned by Chris Auer and his Robert B. Auer companies, we're getting geared up for Daytona next year, Canto Paving, and everybody that helps that too. So we're really excited about, it's always a bummer when the season's coming to an end, but we'll recharge our batteries, and we've already got things in motion for Daytona testing and the race. Looking forward to having 2 cars there. So even though it's a bummer 2018 coming to an end, we'll be looking to start out 2019 real strong.
Well, we're going to hold you through the break because we just had an awesome question asked in the chat, and I want to give you a chance to answer it before we let you go, and I'll give you a chance to think about it while we take a break. The question is, could you share a memory that you have with the namesake of this of the North-South Shootout, John Blewett III? I'll let you think about that, a story, a memory. Mike Twist asking that question in the chat. We're going to take a break. We'll come back and let you respond to that before we let you go. More with Andy Seiss, and we've got World Final conversation coming up as well right after this on the Stock Car Show.
How to be a great dad in 15 seconds. Bike ride, go fish, walk in the park, phone call, milkshake, play catch, picnic, fly a kite, tell jokes, laugh, talk, read a story, tell a story, bumper cars, swing set, bowling, pillow fight, cut loose, stay tight. Whew. Because the smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Automotive technicians and auto service trainees, how would you like to work at the beach and perform for one of the best car care centers in the nation? Louis Meineke is now looking for skilled automotive technicians to join their award-winning team. If you're a gearhead that knows his or her stuff, or a young up-and-comer that has the motivation and drive to succeed, then you need to make this call today. 302-827-2054. Louis Meineke Car Care Center, located in beautiful Lewis, Delaware, offers a highly competitive compensation plan, great benefits, a flexible schedule, and did we mention that you're going to be working at the beach? Plus, there's a signing bonus for the right candidates. Technicians must be ASE certified and have a minimum of 6 years experience. Beginners advance at your own pace in one of several entry-level positions. But whatever you do, don't wait. These jobs will go fast. Call Tim at 302-827-2054. That's 302-827-2054. Louis Meineke Car Care Center. Rev up your career.
You hear that? That's the sound of America's only sports car. That's right. It's a Corvette. But not just any Corvette. It's your Corvette. It's that who cares if there's traffic part of your day. And this can be you when you come to Cooper Corvettes. With 60 years of Corvettes to choose from, there's always a Corvette in your budget. And they'll service any Corvette you bring in. Cooper Corvettes on Route 1 just north of Quantico and Triangle. Call, click, or visit CooperCorvettes.com.
How to deal with someone who says that's so gay. Outsmart them.
This party is like so gay. Totally.
Excuse me, but did you ladies know the word gay used to mean happy or excited? Then it became a word used to describe gay people. Then somehow it came to mean dumb or stupid, which is how you just used it, which is not very nice.
Ew, that guy is on the football team and super smart, and he totally hates us now. Totally.
When you say that's so gay, do you realize what you say? Knock it off. Learn more at thinkbeforeyouspeak.com.
Hey, this is Garrett Smithley, driver of the number nothing Chevrolet for JD Motorsports, and you're listening to Race Talk on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Welcome back to the Stock Car Show presented by HMS Motorsport and by My Computer Career. And we are talking with Andy Seiss, a modified racer extraordinaire, and Andy is competing in the North-South Shootout this weekend, and of course, that race is in honor of John Blewett III, and Mike Twist in our Facebook Live chat had asked if perhaps Andy could share a memory or a story about John Blewett III. So, Andy, what did you come up with for us? Because I'm sure you got a bunch of memories of John.
Well, I'm going to go with the first one that came to mind, but I just want to mention that, Mike Twist is a great friend of mine. And I'm trying to think if he has a story that I've told him that he wants me to tell, but I can't remember or not. So there's the one that does come to mind. First of all, I was a huge John Blewett III fan, and when you meet some of your heroes, they ruin it for you. And I will tell you with all certainty, John Blewett III was my hero, or one of my heroes, because of his blue-collar background, his working on his own cars, his tough as nails when he had to be, but also would take a minute to help a 16-year-old hopeful wannabe race car driver, which I was when I first met him. And when I did meet him, he only just absolutely amplified all those qualities. He was everything you'd want in a folklore racing hero. So I'm a huge John Blewett fan, and the first moment he talked to me, and I'm still excited, still getting goosebumps thinking he came and talked to me, was at New Smyrna Speedway during Speed Weeks. I believe it was 2004, and we were down there running a modified, and it was an outdated chassis, outdated motor, and we were just nailing it right. We were qualifying well and getting in the draw. And back then, you'd have 30 modifieds at night, and just some really good people. John Blewett, Donnie Leah, Ted Christopher, Ed Flemke at the time. You know, really a who's who in modifieds. And I'd be qualifying up front with them, and they would have me wrecked every night by lap 2. And, I mean, we're running out of parts. We're making parts, and we got Brad LaFontaine's Northeast Race Cars trailers just out of spindles, you know, in 1 week. And I didn't understand it. And I'm sitting on the pit road wall waiting for the drivers' meeting to start. And, you know, this guy comes, sits next to me, and he kind of makes it a point to brush your shoulder as you sit down, and you think, well, what's going on here? And I look over, and it's John Blewett. And I think, well, I'm invading his space. This is why he I need to get out of his way because he's not really looking at me when he sits down. And, you know, the point, I thought he did it by mistake, but it was kind of his way of saying hi. And he says, you're qualifying really well. And I thought, man, just the fact that John Blewett knows who I am was pretty cool. And I go, yeah. I go, I just don't know if we're going to finish the week if we keep wrecking. And furthermore, Mr. Blewett, why do you keep wrecking me? And I didn't mean him personally, although he did one night. Teddy had a night. They played pinball with me. And he said, Andy, these are 30-lap races. They're short races. We don't know who you are. We don't know why you're qualifying where you are. But rest assured, we don't have time to mess with you. This is, it's 30-lap races. If the outside lane, if you're holding it up, you're just gonna be used as traction. And he kind of just one of those things of don't take it personal. And he gave me a wink, and he actually pumped me up a little bit. And like I said, some heroes you meet and they ruin it for you. And here's a guy that took his time to make me not feel so bad about how my week was going. Give me a little bit of a pat on the back on what we were accomplishing. When I was fairly young, my dad was still learning the cars, all that stuff. So, that's something that sticks with me. That's the kind of person he was. And when I get the chance, I try to, I'm not saying I'm any John Blewett III, but I try to kind of live on that. If there's a younger kid that, might need a little pick-me-up, I try to, if I think my words will help him, I'll make a point to do it. So, very fortunate like that. I mean, he was larger than life. We all miss him. And I'm glad they have the race in his memory. And I'm glad I have my name on a list where his name's on it twice, for being the first and the third winner of the race. So it's pretty neat.
Well, that is a great story. And, yeah, I mean, I remember John's dad racing. I, of course, remember John the Third. And so cool that you had that opportunity. I mean, those tracks like Long Island Riverhead, I remember Islip years and years ago. Just tough racing there for sure. And that I'm sure that was something for you to be a part of coming into the sport the way that you did. Thanks for taking the time to be with us tonight, Andy. We look forward to catching up with you again over the winter. And, of course, who knows, if you go and get the win in the North-South Shootout, we may just have you back on next week.
I hope so. I guess I got to make some more headlines so I can be on and talk with you guys some more.
There we go. Well, we definitely look forward to having you back. And, again, thanks for taking the time. Sandy Peabody in the chat. Great story, Andy, and we agree. So that's Andy Seiss, and we're going to let Andy get back to his evening here, and we want to transition to some other great racing that took place over this past weekend.
Yes, we do.
At Charlotte, the World Final, as we transition to some dirt track racing, which is not normally in our wheelhouse, but you know what? When it's the World Finals, you got to talk about it. Jacob was there.
She was too.
And Allie was there as well. And,
freezing.
Yeah, freezing. And I watched it on Saturday. And you know, I mean, always great racing, crowned some champions. And we're going to be hearing from a couple of folks.
Yep.
Yeah. Brian Carter, the World Racing Group CEO, also going to be, we're going to hear from Brian, we're going to hear from Donnie Schatz, and we're going to hear from Matt Shepard.
It's going to be fun. Mike Marlar was the only driver I didn't get a chance to formally catch up with, and I was really bummed about that because, honestly, I felt like that Marlar's story of the three champions was the coolest. This is a team that had run a true outlaw schedule for years, never really chased points. This year, his car owner, Ronnie Delk, said, "It's on my bucket list to win a championship in something. What do you say?" So they decided to tackle the World of Outlaws Craftsman Late Model Series schedule.
As one does.
And sure enough, they beat out two of the best in Brandon Shepard and Chris Smokey Madden to capture the championship with a top 5 finish on the final night of competition. He won 5 times this year, managed to pull off an incredible run of consistency, Steve. I know we've only got a minute or so before we go to break, but of all 3 championships that we decided this weekend, this to me was damn cool.
Well, it was because, Jacob, I think at the beginning of the season when we kicked things off at Volusia, we had a feeling that this would be a team that would be good and they would win races. We probably didn't have them in the championship conversation.
No.
So it was kind of refreshing. I mean, that's not to take anything away from these guys, but it just goes to support what you're saying about how great a story it was, because it was kind of that, oh, hey, that's all. Look at this. This is going to be great.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Absolutely, it was.
We're going to step aside. When we come back, we'll dig into the World Finals dirt track coverage. We've got several pieces of audio to play for you, and of course, a lightning round coming up as well. Stay with us. You are listening to the Stock Car Show and watching the Stock Car Show, presented by HMS Motorsport, the leaders in motorsport safety and My Computer Career. We will be right back.
Parents, your son or daughter has had their license for a while now, but you want to make sure they're prepared for any situation they may face on the road. High school driver's ed doesn't teach them to drive defensively. They need to be prepared for any highway emergency. For less than a month's insurance, and a whole lot less, BSR instructors at Summit Point Motorsports Park in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, will teach your son or daughter how to respond instantly and positively to unexpected situations on the road. BSR's specialized accident avoidance training teaches swerve to avoid maneuvers at highway speeds, ocular driving, which focuses driving attention on ways to avoid accidents, vehicle dynamics and feedback, skid control and skid recovery, threshold braking on straights and progressive braking on curves, and off-road recovery techniques. This is stuff driver's ed simply doesn't teach. So call BSR today, 304-725-8444. Give your kid the skill set needed to drive safely and responsibly on the highway. That's 304-725-8444.
You hear that? That's the sound of America's only sports car. That's right. It's a Corvette. But not just any Corvette. It's your Corvette. It's that who cares if there's traffic part of your day. And this can be you when you come to Cooper Corvettes. With 60 years of Corvettes to choose from, there's always a Corvette in your budget. And they'll service any Corvette you bring in. Cooper Corvettes on Route 1 just north of Quantico and Triangle. Call, click, or visit CooperCorvettes.com.
HMS Motorsport is the leader in motorsport safety HMS serves the majority of Monster Energy NASCAR Cup, Xfinity, Camping World Truck, IndyCar, and IMSA WeatherTech teams, as well as countless SCCA and club-level racers and driving enthusiasts throughout North America. Featuring world-renowned brands like Schubert helmets, Schroep belts, Adidas suits and shoes, Lifeline fire systems, and even Racecom radio kits, HMS has the right product for your type of racing and your budget. Their representatives are experts on only one thing, making your track driving as safe as possible. With locations in Mooresville, North Carolina, and Danvers, Massachusetts, the HMS staff is all.
Parents, your son or daughter has had their license for a while now, but you want to make sure they're prepared for any situation they may face on the road. High school driver's ed doesn't teach them to drive defensively. They need to be prepared for any highway emergency. For less than a month's insurance, and a whole lot less, BSR instructors at Summit Point Motorsports Park in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, will teach your son or daughter how to respond instantly and positively to unexpected situations on the road. BSR's specialized accident avoidance training teaches swerve to avoid maneuvers at highway speed, ocular driving, which focuses driving attention on ways to avoid accidents, vehicle dynamics and feedback, skid control and skid recovery, threshold braking on straights and progressive braking on curves, and off-road recovery techniques. This is stuff driver's ed simply doesn't teach. So call BSR today, 304-725-8444. Give your kid the skill set needed to drive safely and responsibly on the highway. That's 304-725-8444.
You hear that? That's the sound of America's only sports car. That's right. It's a Corvette. But not just any Corvette. It's your Corvette. It's that who cares if there's traffic part of your day. And this can be you when you come to Cooper Corvettes. With 60 years of Corvettes to choose from, there's always a Corvette in your budget. And they'll service any Corvette you bring in. Cooper Corvettes on Route 1 just north of Quantico and Triangle. Call, click, or visit CooperCorvettes.com.
HMS Motorsport is the leader in motorsport safety. HMS serves the majority of Monster Energy NASCAR Cup, Xfinity, Camping World Truck, IndyCar, and IMSA WeatherTech teams, as well as countless SCCA and club-level racers and driving enthusiasts throughout North America. Featuring world-renowned brands like Schubert helmets, Schroep belts, Adidas suits and shoes, Lifeline fire systems, and even Racecom radio kits, HMS has the right product for your type of racing and your budget. Their representatives are experts on only one thing, making your track driving as safe as possible. With locations in Mooresville, North Carolina, and Danvers, Massachusetts, the HMS staff is always ready to take the time to help you find the right product for your safety needs. Don't settle for second when it comes to motorsport safety. Stop in to HMS Motorsport. Visit them on their website at hmsmotorsport.com or send them a message on Facebook and tell them the folks from PMN Radio sent you.
Hi, this is John Ondrasik of Five for Fighting, here for RAD, the entertainment industry's voice for road safety. You know, style is a personal thing, and your lifestyle is your business. But if you take it on the road, it becomes everybody's business. So please, plan ahead, designate before you celebrate. Friends, don't let friends drive drunk.
A public service announcement brought to you by RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Cole Custer, and you're listening to the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
Welcome back to the Stock Car Show, presented by HMS Motorsport and My Computer Career. And we appreciate both of those partners in motorsports to be with us each and every time that we do a Race Chaser Radio show here. And we continue to talk about what went on at the World Finals at Charlotte Motor Speedway this past weekend. My name is Tom Baker. Jacob Seelman is sitting next to me. And Ali Bouet also at the table with us. And then we've got Randy Miller in the tech shed. We've got Steve Ovens and Cisco Scaramuzza on the Skype line, wall-to-wall coverage here this evening. And Jacob, you were
I was a little bit everywhere.
Yeah, you were all over the place. You were on hand for Donnie Schatz winning his 10th championship.
That many.
Yeah, he's going to need another hand.
He got one for the second thumb.
Yeah, exactly. Amazing run it's been for Donnie Schatz and Tony Stewart Racing.
Absolutely, and I also want to get Steve's take on this, as he called it Donnie Palooza in our chat just now.
Yeah.
It wasn't on day one, or feature one, I can promise you that. The story of the World Finals was Mother Nature for a while. We actually ended up having to run both features on Saturday, one Saturday afternoon and then the second program Saturday night, because we hit curfew for the Friday night portion and were not able to get the features completed prior to midnight. So we had a double feature. We had the old Saturday afternoon matinee, if you will, and Ian Madsen, by the way, won that one in the sprint car set.
Sure did.
For his first win of the year in his rookie campaign. Good on Ian for that. But the nightcap was all about youth versus experience, Steve-O. Carson Macedo had this feature in the bag, and if not for an exploding tire, he probably drives away from Donnie Schatz and wins that race. If ever there was a statement to be made during World Finals weekend, that was it.
Yeah, it definitely was. I thought that Macedo was going to, go on and show everybody just how much of a title contender they're going to be next season. That was until they backstered the Hoosier Racing tire off of the side of the 22 machine and, just punted that thing right over the Golden Gate. But you know what? Regardless of where they finished that first feature for them this weekend, I got to tell you, Jacob, and you and I talked about this earlier today, I think there is big things coming out of this Kyle Larson Racing team next year.
Big potential. We'll talk more about silly season in a minute. The moral of the story, Donnie Schatz went on to win the final feature for his 22nd feature win of the season with the Outlaws, capping off his 10th championship. Afterwards, I got a chance to catch up with the champ again on what it means to be halfway to his hero, Steve Kinzer.
Here we stand again, Donnie Schatz, and now you become just the second driver in the history of the World of Outlaws to reach double digits in terms of championships. You were saying earlier that, growing up watching Steve Kinzer set those marks, it's really unbelievable to now do it yourself. But what is so unique, so special about this particular milestone?
I don't know that it's really set in yet, so it's hard to put it in perspective yet. You just think about winning one, and you find yourself after that, you feel so accomplished that once you get that trophy, you feel like you got to start over and do it again, or you're just not going to be happy with personal satisfaction. So here we are, 10 later. It's taken me 20-some tries to get 10, and pretty proud of that, but I feel like I learned along the way and still learning. And that's the fun part of the sport, is you're always learning. Times are changing. You do what you have to do to stay ahead, and I'm surrounded by great people that allow me to keep that happening.
When you think about the numbers you've set, and you hear people start putting you in the same breath as Steve Kinzer, who raced as a teammate with you at one point. I mean, is that one of those where you feel honored, humbled? What goes through your mind when you hear that?
It's all of the above. It's honored, it's humbled, it's surreal. It's like it's not happening. The alarm clock's going to go off someday, but it is what it is. You can't put it back on doing one particular thing or one particular race or any of that. It's a culmination of the way how you operate every day, day in, day out for years. And it's people don't understand that. They think there's one little thing that always fixes everything. There's one little thing that's magic here. That's not the case. It's a lot of people doing a lot of hard work and a lot of things working together, and we've just been very fortunate in that department.
I know there have been so many high points this year with 22 wins, but when you look back at the Nationals, I know how badly you want to win that race every year. Was there any frustration in that this year, not being able to seal the deal?
When you look back at the records of the Nationals, we all wanted to win it. If you can't win it, you want to be in the next best spot, which we were. We weren't in a great spot. It just seems like all week long we weren't as fast as the 49 car, and we had an opportunity to race with him to win it, and that's all you can ask for. It's you never want to leave a race not taking the biggest trophy, but sometimes you just have to do it. I've done it a lot of times. I've done it a lot of times in the last 15 years. So it's just a part of it. How you handle it will bring us back to next year and see what we got to do to get ourselves in that position back to win it.
So final question here. With 10 championships, you have said several times you feel like Steve Kinser's mark of 20 would be a stretch given where you are in your career. Is it just now about going out and pushing your own number as high as you can before you decide to hang up the helmet?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. I don't know that, I hope I'm around for another 20 years. I hope I can race as long as what Steve did and be competitive, but you just never know what's going to happen. So to say I'm going to be able to get to that point would be selfish and totally unrealistic. I'm proud of what I've done. I still enjoy it. If I get to the point where I don't enjoy being around this form of racing, then regardless of what the number is, I probably wouldn't be here anymore. And to this point, I still love the competition. I still love being pushed by the young guys, and I'm actually kind of enjoying being the old guy in the crowd. So until that's gone, I'll be right here.
And you know what? For me, that was the statement that said it all. 2 years ago, Donnie Schatz would not have said that he was having fun being the old guy, even though he was still winning championships at that point. Now, right before that, maybe about 3 minutes before I had that conversation, some important guy pulled up on a red motor scooter at the start-finish line, and I decided it would be prudent to walk over and chat with him because it was the 30th anniversary of the World of Outlaws late models and the 40th anniversary of the World of Outlaws sprint cars. Therefore, now we're going to hear from World Racing Group CEO, the big boss, Brian Carter.
All right, Brian Carter, so here we stand, the end of another season, and I feel like it's a tale of kind of two sides of a coin. On one hand, you've got a 10-time champion in Donnie Schatz and a 7-time champion in Matt Shepard, and on the other hand, you've got a first-time champion in Mike Marlar. How sweet are both sides of that coin from your standpoint this weekend?
It's absolutely amazing to watch what's happening in our sport right now. You've got the creation of new legends and new hope for the guys that want to come out and give it a run and can come out in their first season and put on a show like Mike Marlar did. So again, it's all the things that make a weekend like this special, and celebrating the 30th and the 40th, and what's happening here at World Finals is absolutely electric. I'm still taking it all in, candidly. So such an amazing weekend, an amazing season. It was full of ups and downs and heartbreak, but all in all, it's still what we choose to do, and it's just a great form of spending our time with the people that we love and the sport that we love.
What did those anniversaries mean to have them both land in the same year this year?
It really feels sweet to be able to celebrate together the passion. It's whether we're late model fans or big block fans or street stock fans or World of Outlaws sprint car fans, we're all dirt racing fans, and it's just amazing to see it all and to celebrate. Not many things make it to 40 or 47 like Super Dirt Week or World down at Volusia. It's just amazing to be a part of it and to continue to make it better and bring more people to share the fun.
40th anniversary. Steve Kinser has 20. Donnie Schatz now has 10. When you watch Steve Kinser's run and he was winning championships, did you ever imagine that somebody might come along that could somewhat start to equal some of those kinds of performances?
When we were all growing up watching Steve run, it was amazing, and we didn't really know what was happening, and we didn't really appreciate it until you get to that 10th, and to see it all happening again, candidly, it's quite fun to watch, to see it. You could see the changing of the guard, if you believe that, really 12, 13 years ago, the changing of the guard. Now you're seeing, even in Donnie's interview, the talk of the youngsters and the excitement and the energy coming in now. We're on the cusp of watching that transition happen again. And so we'll get to see Donnie in his 10th hustle to try to get to that 20, but even he said that would be almost impossible now. But to see now the next wave of young talent coming in, it's absolutely extraordinary to watch.
I think he makes a great point because honestly, I don't know that I've seen a time in recent memory when, especially when you look at the totality of it, not just the Super Dirt Car big block youth that we've had, like Max McLaughlin and
yep.
I mean,
even
Tyler,
Eric Rudolph. Honestly.
Well, Eric Rudolph. I mean, but he's obviously a little older. But Tyler Dipple's moved on now. But I mean, you look at the sprint cars, and you got Macedo, and you got just a whole bunch of Selzy. I mean, this is a great time to be a World of Outlaws fan. And honestly, from a marketing standpoint, this is a golden time to be a World of Outlaws sponsor, especially on the sprint car side, because that series is growing in value and getting a lot of attention.
You wonder why Dryden Performance Products jumped on board the way they did with two of the young guys in Logan Schuchart and Jacob Allen.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree.
We could talk about
keep on trucking.
Can you believe the run this team's been on? The consecutive championships, all the wins?
Yes and no. You never think it's going to last that long, but at the same time, we've got a great bunch of guys, great bunch of crew, great bunch of sponsors. We got awesome race cars, good engines, and we got a good program, good package. So, as long as we keep gelling and keep working hard, I don't see any reason why we can't keep continuing.
8's the goal now?
Yeah, it's got to be now. We got 7. We obviously, 8's definitely the goal.
8 is definitely the goal. Wow.
Kind of like Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, but
that'll never happen.
No, I don't believe it happens either, but I do think Matt Shepard gets it.
Yes.
I think Matt will get
Matt
will get at least 8.
Well, see, that's the thing, Steve. Matt Shepard is young enough that, quite frankly, I am not convinced that he won't push that number much higher than 8 before it's all said and done.
Easily.
I'm with Tom. I could see double digits.
Definitely. Yeah.
Not only double digits, guys, he could double 8. I mean, let's think about this realistically. Matt is now I'm gonna make the stat boy mad.
He's that old, is
Matt has not yet approached 40. Let's put it that way.
Okay. And I guess he is.
And think about guys like Alan Johnson, Danny Johnson, Brett Hearn even. Look how far they have stretched their careers, and they're still relevant. They are still that good. Mm-hmm. Matt Shepard is that good times 10. I mean, he could double Brett Hearn's
10.
number. And Tom, you're going to appreciate this as much as anybody will on the program tonight. Think about this. The kid from Waterloo, New York, who grew up racing go-karts, who then went to 4-cylinder, Ford Mustang mini stocks, to eventually sportsman and modifieds. It's an incredible story. And guys, again, we're just seeing the first half of this book.
Well, I mean, if you're in your mid-30s, in theory, you could run another 20 years.
Oh, easily.
But who knows if he will. But I could easily see 10. Mitch Brown in our chat says 11. So, I mean, I think honestly, I think 11 is extremely reasonable. I don't know if 16 is a lot, but it depends how long
I was going to say, if he races for another 15 to 20 years and nobody can beat him.
You've got to think, that's the thing, though. You've got to think that somebody is going to emerge as
eventually,
as his foil here.
It's just a question of when that
happens. I mean, Schatz is at 10, and I think we're now in a position where you look ahead even to 19 and you see some new teams that you
Carson Macedo will challenge the 15 for the crown and mark my words right now.
Well,
the 2 team will challenge Donnie Schatz for the title in the sprint car ranks.
I mean, you would think, you would hope anyways, but you got Shane Stewart going over to the 5. You got David Gravel making a move
to the
41 team.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I just think this is one of those times. It's hard to say double it, but boy, I could definitely see.
I mean, I can see him doubling it, but what happens if someone decides, hey, this kid's got talent, and they want to move him to a different division in dirt? They want to move him up.
Matt is driving for Matt Shepard's own team. As long as Matt Shepard wants to race the Super Dirt Car Series and make a living running big block modified, so that's exactly what he's going to do. At 36, I feel like his time to advance at a national stage has long since come and gone, as much as I hate to admit it, because Matt's so freaking talented. His time to go to the national stage has long since passed.
But Jacob, that was his choice. I think we have to keep that in perspective. That's always been Matt's choice. When asked why he doesn't try sprint cars, why he doesn't go, the Stuart Friesen route, Matt said, this is what I grew up doing. This is what I want to do. I don't want to do anything more than this.
Because I was actually going to why doesn't he go the Stuart Friesen route?
Because he doesn't want to.
Yeah, he doesn't want it. And
it doesn't get more simple than that. It sounds kind of crazy, as talented as he is, but the guy's happy. And you know what? All the credit to him, because how many guys have we seen try to go that route and struggle and, lose opportunities? I mean, hey, He's on top of his game. He's at a great point in his life. He's built a great life with his wife, Beth Ann, and I tell you, it's good to be Matt Shepard right now.
I'll make this point real quick. I'm glad he didn't, because I think part of what's wrong with racing right now is we don't have enough Matt Shepards that have stayed long enough at the local and regional level to build that fan base and keep that interest going. And I think these drivers move too quickly now. Real quick, a question from the chat. Do we think somebody stops Donnie Schatz next year? We started to talk about this, or do we think he gets to 11?
I say he gets 11 next year, but not without one hell of a fight from Carson Macedo. I believe that, like it did 6 years ago with Darren Pittman, will go all the way to the wire at the World Finals next year.
Steve?
I think you're leaving out one guy, Brad Sweet. They turned the corner in the second half of this year, Jacob. I know it sounds a little crazy. Maybe not too crazy, but they turned a corner in the second half of this year.
They did. They caught lightning in a bottle. The question is going to be, can they keep it? If they can keep performing at the level they ended the second half of the year with this year, absolutely the 49 team contends for the title.
I'm throwing 3 more names. I'm throwing 2 in a blank.
I know one of them is going to be the 17 car.
No, that's the blank, because we don't know what that car is going to do.
Well, yes, we do. Sheldon Hodenshield confirmed Saturday he will be back in that car next year.
Okay, I missed that. Sorry. Yep. So yeah, I think Sheldon could. But here's the two. I think Shark Racing steps it up. Team Dryden, they've shown they can win.
Jacob Allen is not ready to contend for a championship, but Logan Schuchart
I think at least one of those cars is going to be in contention.
Hey, I talked to Bobby Allen at the sponsor announcement Thursday. He said realistic goal for Logan Schuchart next year, 2nd to 4th in points. I'll do you one better, Bobby. I say the 1S is my wild card pick to contend for the title.
Yeah, I think we got an interesting year coming up in the Outlaw Sprint cars, and that silly season isn't done yet. I mean, I'm sure
it's
basically
still be done. We're just waiting on what happens to Darren Pittman now.
Well, and
everything else is decided.
But you don't know, because sometimes one door closes and opens up another that wasn't expected. So
Tom, Jacob, I got a yes/no real quick. I know we're up on it.
Okay.
Can Eric Rudolph reproduce what he did in 2018 and 2019?
Yes.
Absolutely yes. Yeah, or better. I absolutely would agree with that. Jacob, close us up, buddy.
All right. Thanks to HMS Motorsport and My Computer Career for all they do to support the Stock Car Show, as well as Bob Steele, Sue Mason, and all the folks from the Performance Motorsports Network. For Tom Baker, Ali Boulay, Cisco Scaramuza, Dr. Dirt, Steve Ovens, and Randy Miller behind the glass, I'm Jacob Seelman. Keep it off the wall, folks. And if you're headed to a racetrack somewhere, we might just see you there. Have a safe racing weekend. Good night.
You've been listening to the Stock Car Show on the Performance Motorsports Network. Stay tuned to Performance Motorsports Network for more race talk. For the latest motorsports news, visit racechaseronline.com. The Stock Car Show is a copyrighted production of the Performance Motorsports Network. www.performancemotorsportsnetwork.com. A member of the Scorpion Radio Group Incorporated, and may not be rebroadcast, replicated, or saved in any media without the explicit written permission of PMN. Check out our Facebook page or our section on the PMN website. The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host, co-host, and guests, and do not necessarily reflect those of the management and ownership of either the Performance Motorsports Network or Scorpion Radio Group Incorporated, the advertisers, or the marketing partners. Be listening again next week when the Stock Car Show returns on Thursday night at 7 Eastern. Until then, stay tuned for more great motorsports programming on the Performance Motorsports Network.